Greetings gamers, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over how to play Inuyasha trading card game. This game was developed by Score in the early 2000s. Score was really popular on making anime card games. The main ones that you would remember were Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Bleach. This was kind of a forgotten card game. No one really knew much about it. But other than that, if you have played this game, it's kind of similar to Bleach. But other than that, we're going to go over the card types. So the first type of card are the character cards, which are white. Next are the item cards, which are red. After that, you have the location cards, which are green. And lastly, you have the event cards that are blue. Other than that, there's no other types of cards. Now, we'll go over how you win this game. There are two ways to win the game. The first way to win is by stealing all 10 Shikon Jewel shards. You win the instant you possess all 10 shards, and the shards are face-down cards that you and your opponent set aside when the game begins. You steal shards by defeating characters, attacking your opponent directly, and by using game effects. The next way that you can win is by your opponent decking out. So you win the instant your opponent tries to draw or discard a card from his deck and he can't. But other than that, we're going to talk about deck construction. So by getting started with this game, you need exactly 60 cards in your deck. And the rules for deck building are really easy, guys. So unless the card restricts itself, meaning that it says in the card text only limit 1 per deck, 2 per deck, or 3 per deck, then you can have as many of that card in your deck. So if you want to, don't know why you would, you could play 60 of these Kagomis if you wanted to. It won't make sense for you to, but you could. Other than that, the designated areas, so you just have your deck, which is going to be on your right side. Your graveyard's going to be underneath or on top of your deck. Either way, depends how you set your deck. You just have your play area here, and then on the left side, that's where you're going to put your Shikon Jewel shards. But other than that, so the basics on how to start the game, I'll just move this out of the way. So to begin the game, you guys are obviously going to shuffle your decks and then give your opponent a chance to cut it. And then you decide who goes first by either playing rock, paper, scissors, or rolling dice, or flipping a coin. It's pretty much up to you. But other than that, once you guys do that, and I'm just going to give this a quick shuffle. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get 5 cards from the top of your deck, and you're going to set them aside like this. And that is going to be your Shikon Jewels right here. So you have 5 of those. Once you do that, you're going to draw 5 cards. Now, once you've done that, you do have a chance to mulligan. Mulligan's relatively different from most TCGs. What you're going to do is you're going to swap this out with your Jewel Shard. But we like this, so we're going to keep it. And I also forgot to mention, you put these face down without looking at them. You're not supposed to know what these are. But you would know what these are if you decide to mulligan by switching your hand to your Jewel Shard. But other than that, we're going to talk about how a turn works. So a turn is made up of 4 steps that both players are going to be doing at pretty much the same time. The active player goes first in every step, and then once he's done, the opposing player takes his turn. But other than that, the 4 steps are the draw step, the setup step, the battle step, and then the recovery step. So during the draw step, starting with the active player, they're going to draw 3 cards. And then we'll just move this aside. Now, once the active player draws his 3 cards, it goes to the opposing player. Then the opposing player decides to draw his 3 cards. Now, once that's done, that ends the draw phase. Then we go to step 2, which is the setup phase. So starting with the active player, you may now play cards from your hand. And the first of the 3 things that you can do is you can play up to 2 characters into your play area. The next thing you could do is put a location card in play. And I also want to mention this, you can have multiple locations in play, but only one copy of each. And this is a big note, guys. Locations sometimes affect the controller of the location, and other times will affect both players. The location will definitely let you know that. Now, if you look at this, take a look at this location, Cave of the Shikon Jewel. Players may not use card effects that search their decks or discard piles. So this right here affects both players. Now, another thing that you can do during the setup phase is attach items to a character. And pretty much what you do is you just play an item by attaching it face up underneath a character card. And characters may only attach one item card each. Now, this part is very important, guys. Except for the Shikon Jewel Shards that you play in the beginning of the game, every card in the game will have a deck cost. And you can see the deck cost is right here. It has the sign right here with the number. And pretty much what that is that number tells you how many cards you have to discard from the top of your deck in order to play it. So pretty much anytime you do play a card, you have to do this first. Otherwise, you can't play the card. So after you go through those three things, like I said, play up to 2 characters, put a location in play, and then play an item card. Once you're finished with that, as the active player, then it moves to the opposing player, then the opposing player will do those things as well. Now, after both of you guys finish during the setup phase, then you move to the third phase, which is battle. So during this phase, both players alternate actions, with the active player going first. Each player may do one of the following 4 actions at a time in the action phase, which is you can play an event card, you can attack, or you can use an activated ability, and then lastly, you can pass. Note, guys, you can only play or use cards in your action phase unless a card changes the timing. So pretty much the main cards that change timing are event cards. So normally you will play an event card during your action step during the battle phase, not your opponent's, but cards can say when attacking or when attacked, and that can trigger for you to be able to play it during your opponent's action. So the first thing we're going to talk about is playing an event. To play an event from your hand, you may pay the deck cost of the card and play the card from your hand. You resolve the effects and discard it. Some effects on events last after the card is played. Such events end at the end of the turn. All right, so that's the first thing you can do. The second thing that you can do is activate a character's ability. And to do that, you just pretty much just say that you activate their ability. And the next thing you could do is attack. So what we're going to do is, let's just say during our setup, we're going to play Kikyo. So Kikyo costs 3. So we discard 3 cards from the top of our deck. And then after that, we are going to play Kagome. And then Kagome costs 2 to play, so we discard top 2. So after that, let me just kind of clean this up a bit. So after we do this and we move to the battle, so let's just say our opponent has these characters in play. I'm just gonna find some random card. We'll do, and I'll just look through here real quick, guys. All right, so we're just gonna act like we played our up to 2 characters, and then our opponent played their characters. So after that, we move to the battle. And then what we do when we attack is, attacking is broken down in steps. So you can attack one of your opponent's characters. You cannot attack any of your own characters. And how do you attack? So each character has up to 3 out of the 6 attack colors. And when you attack with the character, you have to follow these sequence of stages. So the first sequence is you choose which of your characters attacking which of your opponent's characters. If your opponent controls no characters, then you could attack your opponent directly with any color. The second sequence is choose your attacking color for the attack. The third sequence is you make sure that no effects or conditions prevent you from attacking the chosen character or player. The fourth sequence is you expend your character by turning your character 180 degrees if there is a matching color between the attacking and defending character, or if you're attacking your opponent directly. 5 is you use any effects or play any events that occur when attacking or attack on cards in play. 6 is you compare the color values of the two characters. And then 7, defeat the character if the attacking color value equals or exceeds the defending character's color value. You don't defeat attacking characters with lower color values than the defending color. 8, steal a shard if you defeat your opponent's character or you attack your opponent directly. And then lastly, use any when you steal a shard effect. So we'll just set this aside for our opponent. So our opponent has his 4 or 5 jewel shards. So the first thing we do is we decide who we're going to attack with. So once we decide who we're going to attack, we have to make sure that we're able to attack that person. So with Kagome, I'm going to choose to attack this Kagome with 7 white. So you just expend it by turning it 180 degrees, and then it attacks Kagome. And so after that, we could play when attacking cards because I'm the attacker, and then my opponent could play when attack cards for events. All right, so let's just say we don't play anything. So we compare the values, and this Kagome is weaker than my Kagome, so this Kagome is defeated. And then I take a jewel shard. And you signify defeated characters by putting them face down. So that was one of my actions during the battle phase. Now it goes to my opponent. So my opponent can either activate an ability on a character card, or they could play an event card, or they can attack me. So let's just say they decide to attack my Kikyo with 3 white. So they're attacking Kikyo with 3 white. I don't have any when attack cards. So what's going to happen is Kikyo is defeated because ties go to the attacker. And after that, it goes back to me, so I could play. Well, I can't attack. I don't have any abilities I could do, and I don't have any event cards, so I'll pass. And then also, just want to let you know, since my opponent defeated my character, he takes a jewel shard. So after that, we both passed. Then we go to the final stage, which is the recovery. So during this phase, we can either save or kill characters. So as the active player, you may now save any of your defeated characters. To save a defeated character, you discard a character from your hand that has the same name of one of the ones that you're saving. So just wanted to let you know that there is uniqueness in this game. You can only have one Kagome in play. So this Kikyo is defeated. So in order for me to save, I have to discard a Kikyo from my hand. It doesn't have to be this exact Kikyo. The surname does not have to be the exact. It just has to be their first name. So I don't have a Kikyo, so Kikyo will die. And then after that, nothing happened to Kagome. She wasn't defeated, and so I'll just ready her up. And then after that, it moves to my opponent. So my opponent will decide, will he save his Kagome? He chooses not to, so Kagome will go to the discard. And then after that, he'll just ready up his character. All right, so that ends the recovery phase. And once that's done, whoever was the active player, it shifts to the opposing player now. So now the opposing player becomes the active player, and then that active player is now the opposing character. And you just repeat that process by drawing 3 cards and then moving to your setup where you play up to 2 characters, a location, and then playing any item cards, and then after that, you move to the battle phase. But that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple game. There's not much thinking into it. I do want to let you know you could lose by deck out. That is a way to lose. So with this game, by playing cards, you're discarding cards from top of your deck, so you could deck out pretty fast. So if you do deck build, you should play cards that shuffle cards from your discard pile back into your deck. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this game. If you guys want, I probably am going to make a video of me and my friend playing. But other than that, we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.